And let's talk about Gen Z, because apparently there's been a new poll or a study that has come out that says that teens are craving relatability and authentic representation and don't want to see a lot of sex and things of that nature in their TV shows and movies. So UCLA Center for Scholars and Storytellers released its annual Teens and Screens report on Wednesday, that'd be today, yielding eye opening insights into the tastes and preferences of young media consumers. This year's report is titled Get Real Relatability on Demand, as the findings show that teens and youth are craving relatability and authentic representation across a myriad of metrics as they relate to media. There's yet more data out lending credence to the theory of Gen Z's purported prudishness. That was what Rolling Stone said, by the way, with nearly half the respondents to a new study saying there's too much sex and sexual content in TVs and movies. So they said this survey was conducted in August with a sample group of 1,500 adolescents and young adults aged 10 to 24, reflective of general Gen Z demographics in the US with regards to race, gender, and geographic region. This is according to the study. Now, while studies have suggested that the number of sex scenes in movies have declined significantly, which is a fact, since 2000, with last year's perhaps representing a slight uptick, 48.4% of respondents in the teens and screen study said there was just still too much sexual content in movies and TV shows. The hell are y'all watching? Because some of the shows and TV shows and movies I be watching, there ain't really no sex up in it. I mean, my thing is, I don't have a problem with sex or like if it's sex for sex sake, I'm like okay. But um, if it doesn't serve the story, we don't need boobs and ass and dick and all that other stuff thrown up in a film. But when Gen Zs get so damn prudish, because quiet as it's kept, maybe what it is that it's the era of social media. A lot of y'all is too confined to your phones and laptops and tablets and things of that nature. So you're getting a lot of your content from there. Plus, adult cinematography is way more accessible on social media than it is with you getting laid in real life. And a lot of times I feel like a lot of Gen Z is struggling to try to find companionship and get dates and girlfriends and things like that. Because I was hearing that there's a bit of a struggle with boys approaching girls because I guess girls is coming up with attitudes or whatever the case was, or guys don't really know how to they don't know how to court women, specifically this generation. And because I've had conversations with a bunch of young Gen Zers, and they'll sit up here and say that or not even that. It was like people I've worked with. And they've had conversations where it's just like, oh, they be trying to talk to girls, and it's like you can't even say hello to a girl without them thinking like the worst. It's like, damn, I just say, hey, what's up? It's like you acting like I'm trying to bang you in the corner or something. Relax. I'm gonna say bro relax, but relax. So they said while studies have suggested that the number of sex scenes in movies. Okay, I think I read that part already. Additionally, now I remember where I was at. 60.9% said they wanted to see relationships on screen that were more about the friendship between the couple than sex, while 59.7% said they want stories where the central relationships are friendships. And I think it's because people tend to value friendships more than they do sex. And I think it's because it's that camaraderie. And maybe because a lot of these kids, like I said, they're so confined to technology, and technology has taken over, like become such a big part of their lives that they crave that friendship, that companionship, and they want to see that represented in the movies they watch and the TV shows that they watch. Friendship ranked third out of 19 in topics adolescents want to see on screen. Romance ranked third to last with only 36.5% reporting high interest. Furthermore, 54.1% of respondents said they wanted to see stories about people who are uninterested in romance, with that number rising to 57.1% among teens 18 and under. More than half of respondents, 54.9%, said they wanted to see more mixed gender relationships where the characters prioritize their friendship instead of turning it into a romantic relationship. Well, look, I know a lot of people were going to be mad about that one regarding the mixed gender relationships, but here's the thing: there's more mixed race people running around more than ever. So, and me as a mixed race child, I approve. But I do think that we need to see more black on black relationships. I want to see more black love on the screen. I want to see more people of their own races where it's like they're coming together. Not saying like I'm against mixed race because I do, but I do feel like black people's gripe is that there's way too much push of that you can't be seen or more you're more acceptable if a black man is dating a white woman and vice versa, or you see a black woman with a white man, and all that. So they have to be in mixed race relationships because y'all don't value black relationships. So that's the overall argument that you get from black people. So why can't we have all the things? I would like to see a lot of that. I would like to see more mixed gender relationships. Oh, they said mixed gender. I'm sitting there talking about mixed race, but that still applies, mixed race. But they want to see mixed gender relationships where it's like, yeah, that a guy can be friends with a girl and it's not sexual. And there are those friendships that exist. There are guys who have good female friends that are not sexual. They see them as like their friend, and it's not they're not gay. There are literally straight guys who can have girlfriends and girls who have guy friends, but it's not a sexual thing. Why can't we show that everything doesn't have to be sexual with the opposite sex? Like, yeah, there are friendships, valid friendships that happen with that. I know my cousins always said like people always be thinking like you can't be friends with a man as a girl. And she's like, I got plenty of male friends that I've never slept with. And I think when you're secure enough in who you are, you can have those friendships. I just think that a lot of that comes from insecurity where people feel like, oh no, you can't have a friend of the opposite gender and all those other. Excuse you? Why not? Because you feeling away and you've been cheated on in your life, so you think that everybody, because you haven't dealt with a lot of the things, the trauma that was in your life, now you want to project that on your new relationship, and you wonder why that you can't maintain a relationship because you still carrying a lot of those insecurities from the past into your new shit. So the mixed race one, I'm still on that one, even though I misread it, and as I said, mixed gender relationships. Now, the responses to the bonus question, what's your favorite show or movie, were also decidedly unsexy. The top three were Stranger Things, Wednesday, and SpongeBob SquarePants, where Spider Man and Family Guy were tied for fourth. Ciao. Uh, okay, Stranger Things, I get it because Stranger Things is all about like these group of teens that value friendship and they fight demogorgons and all the other stuff. So I get that. Wednesday, love the first season. Second season was trash. And SpongeBob, yeah, I do love SpongeBob. Hey, Squidward. It's like I like SpongeBob. SpongeBob, I grew up watching that. So, and then Spider Man, I love Spider Man. Looking forward to the new one, brand new day. Family Guy, I definitely love Family Guy because it's Seth MacFarlane. And then it said tied at six were two shows where romance does play a big role. The Vampire Diaries and The Summer I Turned Pretty. Now, I've never seen The Summer I Turned Pretty. I do see it gets advertised a lot. However, I did watch The Vampire Diaries. And I love the Salvatore brothers and Nina Dobrev, which they still trying to make us believe that she and Zach Efron are hunching. Girl, nobody believes that. Um, not even with them frosted tips he got. But yeah, I love the Vampire Diaries. I even thought about going back and rewatching that show. The show was good back when it was on the CW. That's when I used to watch it because I was in my whole. I hated Twilight. Funny enough, I hated Twilight, but I love the Vampire Diaries, and they kind of all float in the same boat, except. Till Twilight was so damn annoying. Vampire Diaries at least had a little edge to it. But if we talking about the litmus test of the CW, it had a little edge to it. So that's what I liked about it. And plus, I like Paul Wesley. That was another thing. Paul Wesley, child, that boy, that boy was fine. Him and Ian Somerhalder. And yeah, I like Nina Dobrev. We know she has spoken out over the years that she was treated unfairly with the pay on that show. And then I believe she quit after a while because the behind the scenes, the people way they was treating her on that damn show, the producers and stuff. So she was like, I'm walking away because y'all thinking like y'all don't value what I'm bringing to the show. And she played a multitude of characters. So how dare you treat Nuna Dobrev the way y'all treat her? But nevertheless, that's these kids' favorite show. And they said these findings are in line with those in teens and screen studies from the past couple years. For instance, in last year's survey, 63.5% of teens strongly agree with wanting to see content that focuses on platonic relationships and friendships, up from 51.5% in 2023. And in 2024's survey, 62.4% of respondents agreed with the hate statement, saying, I feel that sex and sexual content is not needed for the plot of most TV shows and movies, up significantly from 47.5% in 2023. But here's the thing, like I said, if it is a plot point, if it makes sense for those characters to have a sex scene, then why not? I just feel like, yeah, y'all being a little too conservative, a little too prudish. But if you're throwing sex in something for sex sake, then it's like, okay, we can see through the mess. But this is what they talking about. But then y'all talking about Gen Z, but what about the rest of us? Because they not, I mean, I understand like the industry, they care mostly about what young people doing because they always want to pander everything to the younger generation. But the younger generation does not consume TV and movies. They call it content. They look at all of this as content. We look at things like if we watching a show, it's a TV series. If we watching a movie, it's a movie. They look at everything as content, kind of like you watching me right now. This is considered content instead of like a visual podcast. But this is the way they look at stuff. And my thing is like, can the industry please stop always trying to pander to the youth? Like they're the ones with the disposable income. First of all, that disposable income comes from their parents, who are Gen X, elder millennials. So that's where they're getting them coins from. So let's not overlook those of us who are elder millennials, zennials, and Gen X, and and I guess the boomers. The boomers, y'all got regular TV. But the stuff that we talking about and stuff here is just like, yeah, let's not overlook everybody else because they're the one, the older people are the ones paying for these Gen Zers to be able to watch what they watch and next Gen Alpha and beyond. And I guess after Gen Alpha is Gen Beta. Will I even be alive when Gen Beta becomes a thing? I don't know. But nevertheless, this is the statistic, and I definitely want to hear from y'all about this poll. Do you agree with this poll? Do you feel that there's way too much sex and things? Maybe I've just been naive and I haven't noticed if there's been a lot of sex and stuff because I don't really be watching. I don't get well, maybe it's on the ads and things, but I don't watch a lot of ads and stuff because I buy a lot of the tiers that I pay for with streaming services. I pay for no ads, so the only ads I would see would either be from YouTube or Peacock. I don't pay for ads with. I mean, I don't pay the full thing with that. I do the ad thing because I'm like, I don't need to have the thing. But now I'm starting to think that maybe I do. But then y'all just raise y'all price. So no, I'm good. But but yeah, so I definitely want to hear from y'all. Do y'all think that there is too much sex and stuff in a lot of the movies, a lot of TV shows, and these kids are being bombarded with it? Maybe they're seeing it in other places, or maybe that because they're seeing so much adult stuff on social media, wherever they looking. I ain't snitching, but whatever y'all know to look, y'all been looking. So now they don't want to see. They see it so much everywhere else that they don't want to see it in the TV shows and the movies that they watch. But like I said, if it's crucial for it to be, if it needs to be part of the story, if you need to include sex and stuff, that's the way it should be. Don't just throw it in there for the sake of throwing it in there. But I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below.